and pop culture. I am your host, Danielle Delgado. Today I'm joined by a special guest. From E's hit show, Catching Kelce, Miss Rhode Island, Victoria Ambra.
As I mentioned, you were on E's hit show, Catching Kelce. How was it being one of 50 girls vying for Travis's heart?
I mean, you're never in a situation, like, outside of that show where there's 50 other girls going for one guy specifically. So it was pretty crazy, but a cool experience.
Yeah, I bet. Especially when you had that, 1 minute to convince him that you're, the perfect girl for him.
Yeah, that they were like, okay, so you guys are going to have 1 minute to get him to pick you and move into that house. And we were like, what? They were like, yep, just 60 seconds on the clock. And you were like, okay. I don't even, remember what I talked about. I think I danced because, he loves dancing. And I was like, oh, let me just show you that I can shake. Oh, he was actually wearing that white jacket, and I went to hug him and I got makeup literally all over the white jacket because I'm so short. It, rubbed off on his shoulder, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And then he was like, you're A-okay in my book, Rhode Island. And I was like, oh wait, maybe this is going to be good.
Well, how did you hear about this show?
Well, I ended up on Travis's page, and I decided, I was like, oh, let me just Google him and see, what's up with him. So I Googled him, and the first thing that popped up was that he had green-lighted a dating show for him, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Now he's going to have a girlfriend, and I was with my friend. And they were like, well, why don't you just apply? And I was like, I don't know. And they were like, just do it. What do you have to lose? And I was like, okay, thinking that, you're never, ever actually going to get picked for this. So I ended up applying, and then they were like, okay, we like you. You're coming. And I was like, what? Okay. It happened all within probably a month. It was super quick.
Have you been a big fan of reality dating shows before?
Yeah, actually I'm obsessed with dating shows, mainly The Bachelor and Bachelorette, obviously.
Of course, yes.
And I was like, oh my god, a dating show that I can be on. That's kind of cool.
Was it an easy adjustment, getting used to all the cameras following you everywhere?
It was really weird for the first 2 days, and they're like, just ignore them, but it's hard. It's hard to ignore at first because they're people, and you want to be like, oh, sorry, excuse me, I'm moving here. But then after that, you're just kind of like, okay, it's just another thing. You just go on about your day and just act like they aren't there. And I mean, it definitely was weird at first, but it got easier after.
Yeah. Did you watch every episode that you were on?
Yeah, I did watch every episode.
Was there anything that you regret doing while you were on the show? You were looking back on it and you're like, why did I do that? Why did I say that?
I thought there would be more that I regret because they filmed so much, obviously, and so much of it doesn't get shown.
Yes.
So I feel I thought there could have been situations that I regretted, but seeing everything and I didn't really regret anything. So part of me was oh wait, do I regret leaving? But at the same time, his relationship had progressed so much further with other people at that point than it had with me, so it was you know what was the point?
I thought you were one of the most down-to-earth girls on the show, and you were pretty ballsy. I loved it. When he told you that he just saw you as a friend, and then you just went in for the kiss, you shocked everybody.
It was, when I got back to the house, I didn't show a lot of that, but everyone was obviously pissed off that I did that, and they were you're just thirsty, blah blah blah. I was like, no, what else are you going to do? Are you going to talk your way out of the friend zone with someone? When you're in that situation, yes, in real life, you would probably talk your way out of it. But, in that situation, it was kind of do or die. What do you do? How do you make this instant chemistry happen so that, you get out of the friend zone? And I also had had some wine before, so I was a little bit drunk. So I was like, you know what? Just going to go kiss him.
Well, it obviously worked. I just didn't have the guts to do that. I was looking, I was like, oh my god, I could never do that. But I was like, good for you.
I didn't think I would be. I didn't imagine myself doing that. I definitely, also, we obviously didn't know what the elimination was going to be like. So I kind of assumed walking in there that we would have, time to chill together before everything happened. But, no, it was not that. It was okay, this is going to happen in front of everyone.
Yeah. You also had another moment. You were, going for the top 4 spots, and then you kind of turned the tables on him, and you were like, I see us better off as friends.
Yeah. When that happened, I was he was talking, and I was kind of back at the house, I was just kind of am I here, to just chill and get the free mansion and free food and stuff? Or, do I really like him? And, I think if it was a different situation, yeah, and, you had time, more time in, a normal situation to, meet him, yeah, maybe things would have, played out differently. But but like they were kind of a little bit like teetering on awkward. Like, do you even have anything to talk about? So I thought at that point, like for myself and like to save my dignity, because like I could have stayed and just like had him like break it up with me, but like at that point I was like, you know what, like for my own sanity and like dignity, I think I'm gonna like choose to leave.
Do you feel like you made the right choice?
Yeah, I do. I think that he's a great guy, and it was obviously nothing against him. It just like didn't work out between us, but I'm really happy with my decision to leave on my own.
Have you talked to Travis since the show ended?
No, I haven't talked to him. I hear about him through Maya.
Oh, so you keep in contact with some of the girls on the show?
Yeah, me and Maya are really close, and I'm good friends with Avery and also Veronica.
Kind of like a sisterhood, but you guys are all like going for the same guy.
I know, it's so weird. Like, even like when I would watch The Bachelor, I'd be like, how are they friends after? Like, how are you so close with them immediately after a show that you all just were like crying over the same guy? But it's like that weird situation that like, you know, you're all doing it for the same guy, but you become so close because you have nothing else. Like, there's no TV, you have no phones, you literally have no contact with the outside world. So you're forced to become close with these girls who you're actually in competition with.
Was there anybody that was like totally different while the cameras were rolling and then like changed when the cameras were off?
I didn't get that impression with anyone. I feel like everyone was pretty much themselves the whole time. It's kind of hard. That's like, it's so in retrospect, like that's a task. If you're trying to be someone else for the camera than who you are, like really, it's so hard because you have to act.
So I want to get to know you a little bit better. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
My favorite guilty pleasure is...
Chocolate.
The thing that brings me the greatest joy is...
Family and friends.
The best advice I've ever been given was...
That's a hard one. Probably the fact that like you're worth it, like you're enough.
One thing you wish you knew when you were younger.
That it's gonna be okay. That like that you're not gonna think about that 6 years down the road. That's not gonna make a difference in your life.
My favorite quote to live by is...
The heart of life is good.
I like that. How would you say that your life has changed since being on the show?
People have reached out to me a little bit more just to like say that like what I did gave them a lot of confidence. Like number one, when I went and kissed him, and number two, when I left the show on my own, which is really nice to hear. And it's kind of weird to have like fans, and I quote, of you. Like, it's just a little weird. And then like I've gotten recognized a few times in Charlotte, and it's nice to like talk to people, and like obviously like Instagram and Twitter following has gone up, but like changed like and made like a huge difference. The show didn't make like that big of a difference in that.
Do you have like a lot of guys coming up to you and hating on you because of the show?
The DMs, I get the DMs. People slide into the DMs a lot. Like if a guy, most guys have said things in my DMs, which is like kind of, I mean, attention is always nice, so it's kind of like, okay. And I'll answer both people. But like, no one who I've been like, oh wow, like pumped that you DM'd me. Like no one of like someone that I like would go out of my way to like actually have a conversation with and hang out with.
What was somebody's best pickup line so far?
Oh God. People are always with like, since it was like catching Kelce, and they're always like you can catch me, and like there haven't been great pickup lines because it always just plays off like, oh, you didn't catch him, but like I'll let you catch me, and you're like, okay, cool. Thanks.
You have to tell me about this story about when you dined and dashed on a date. What?
Oh my God, can I tell you a real story about that?
Yes.
That was a lie that I made up when one of the questions on the original application was like, what's the craziest thing you've done on a date? And I was like, what? I've never, like, what do you mean? I don't do crazy things on dates because that means you don't get another date. So someone was like, what, just put that you've dined and dashed. And I was like, okay. And then they put it on the thing, and I was like, Jesus. I was like, that's a lie, and now it's on there.
Oh my God.
And they literally asked me about it, like, in the interviews. They were like, so tell us about the time you dined and dashed. great. Now I'm just gonna make up an entire story. Cool.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. But I guess you need to stand out, right?
I know, right? I was like, what is something crazy that you do on a date? Like, I don't know.
What was your favorite date on the show?
Definitely the Party Rock Mansion. People are like, oh, LMFAO, they're so far gone. Like, yeah, that's fine. But I'm also a fan of, like, the Patriots and Rob Gronkowski and, like, loves Party Rock. So when I walked in, I was like, oh my god. And they had just, Gronk did a, like, cruise ship, like a party ship last year, and they had just come off of that, like, spring break thing. And I was like, oh my god, were you guys just with Rob Gronkowski on his boat? And they were like, yeah. And then they were like, okay, back to Travis. I was like, yeah, you're right, yes. But it was just, like, so fun. They did a beer bong. Like, when we first got in there, first of all, they made us all take those shots. And every time we took a shot, we would sing, like, shot from their song. And there was a beer bong. And I was like, oh, like, let's do a beer bong. And they were like, we only do Red Bull vodkas out of this. And I was like, what? What? I'm not doing a Red Bull vodka in a beer bong. So they were like, okay, well, you can do a vodka cranberry. I was like, okay. The producers were literally like, Victoria, like, maybe don't do that. Like, we didn't want you guys to get, like, this drunk. We were like, nah, whatever.
Oh my god, I don't know if I'd be able to, like, hang with Party Rock. I mean,
they were pretty crazy. They were, like, pretty insane. And, like, their studio downstairs, I know, like, they showed, like, CC rapping, and then they showed me just being, like, a boring loser talking. But I did rap first, and it was so, like, they're just cool.
Oh no, they definitely look like they'd be a lot of fun to be around. I just don't know if I can take that many shots. They kept taking, like, giving you guys the shots, so, like, take another shot.
It was like do or die. You're like, okay, I guess I'm doing this again. Oh, okay, cool.
Sum up your experience on the show for me.
The experience of the show, overall, it was a really good experience for me. But there are times where, like, during it, you get really emotional. Like, you know, you always make fun of the girls that are, like, crying on The Bachelor after, like, night one or whatever. But you don't realize how long you've been, like, they've been there, like, before the show started, without your TV, like, without a cell phone, without being able to watch TV, with, like, no other interaction but him and the girls. So it's, like, it's really emotional and, like, kind of, you get to know yourself in a way. Like, when I left the show, I felt so good about myself. And, like, it's not often where you feel that you're, like, really worth it. Like, there are so many instances where girls just, like, you don't feel like guys make you feel so shitty and, like, they put you down all the time. But then, like, for some reason, like, doing the show, it just, like, it made you, like, realize that you are good enough for people. Like, you are going to be good enough for someone. Like, don't waste your time on shitty people who aren't going to get you what you want. Like, just know that, like, you're worth it. So I guess it was, like, a learning experience for myself, and just, like, an overall, I'm really happy with what happened.
Yeah, that's good. No, it sounds like you had a good experience on this show.
And before I let you go, I have to ask you this question because it is my signature question. So what is something that you would want to be remembered for?
Wow, hold on, okay. I want to be remembered for making a difference. Like, I want to make a difference in people's lives. Like, I want people to be like, she made my life better. Like, we did this, and, like, it made a difference in my life. That's definitely what I want to be remembered for.
Well, I love that. And on that note, this is the perfect way to end the show. So thank you so much, Victoria, for being here. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to tune in next time, guys, as we discuss more life, love, and pop culture.